So, remember how in the announcement for Mega Evolution base set, the Pokemon Company said the 3 prizers would have higher HP and attack damage compared to regular 2 prize Pokemon EX? Well, with each new Mega Evolution reveal, we're learning that's simply not the case. Take Mega Kangaskhan EX for example. Yes, it has 300 hit points on a 3 prize basic, tying it with Magikarp and Wailord from the Sun and Moon days, but the attack only does 200 base damage for 3 energy. If you want to do more, you have to get real lucky on coin flips. Except, do you know who else is a multi-prize basic colorless Pokemon EX that uses coin flips to deal boosted damage for 3 energy? Kangaskhan EX. Except where Mega Kangaskhan will only do 200 damage if it flips tails on the first coin, Mini Kangaskhan can still deal 300 damage if it flips tails on the first coin. Basically what I'm trying to say is that the 3 prize version isn't necessarily better than the 2 prize one. Thankfully, there's more text on Mega Kangaskhan. When it's in the active spot, you can activate its ability to draw 2 cards. However, just like Fezandipity, you can only use 1 Mega Kangaskhan ability per turn regardless of how many you have in play. That's actually super useful. And as long as you're playing a deck full of 2 prizers and no single prizers, them knocking out Mega Kangaskhan doesn't matter from a math perspective. In fact, if they do KO your 3 prizer, it makes Ino even stronger. Play it with Latias, Mew, and Fezandipity, now you getting Ino to 1 late doesn't matter, because all of a sudden you can drop to 3 with Mew, then draw 5 more with the Bird and Kangaroo. So while the attack might be lacking, the ability offers up another way for you to draw cards and make Ino a lie. Should you want to attack with Mega Kangaskhan though, the combo is simple. You just make my old Kangaskhan EX deck, then swap in the Mega. Bravery Charm gives it 350 hit points, and 2 Bouffalant reduce the damage it takes by 60, effectively giving it 410 HP. And Lively Stadium can increase that by another 30 hit points. Run Terrapados EX plus Trumpet to accelerate energy, and you're able to deal at least 200 damage fairly easily. But like a steak about to be cooked, here's the rub. Mega Kangaskhan gives up 3 prizes and might only do 200 damage for 3 energy. Yet Terrapados gives up 2 prizes and can deal 240 damage for 2 energy with a full bench, alongside a secondary attack that makes it immune to damage from non-colorless basics. So yeah, I think I've disproven their assertion that Megas are better than regular EXs. If it wasn't for the ability, Mega Kangaskhan would be either a 2-toe or a 2.5-toe card. Due to the ability, I'll give it 3 toes out of 5. Then we have Mega Camerupt EX. A stage 1 with 340 hit points, the Angry Camel does 240 damage for a single fire energy if they're burned. Honestly, that doesn't seem too bad. Add in the 20 damage during checkup for burn, and that 240 is actually 260. Throw in the poison package with Binding Mochi and Brute Bonnet, now you can deal 280 damage with poison and burn, upping that to 310, all for a single energy. And Perilous Jungle can add an extra 3 damage counters, so long as you don't mind damaging your own Camerupt further. Even though we just got Volcarona and Black Bolt, I think Volcanion EX is the better partner. Yes, it's a basic 2 prizer that has to be in the active to burn them, but that should be easier than getting a stage 1 and discarding a fire energy with Volcarona. And if you don't want to go the poison route, you can always run Magmortar to up the burn damage they take between turns by 3 damage counters, which does stack. The second attack, meanwhile, is passable. I just don't think it's going to see a ton of use. Dealing a mere 40 more damage than Roasting Feet, Volcano Meteor does 280 for 4 energy, and you have to discard 2 energy in the process. Ignition Energy fills the requirement. I'm just not sure if it's worth running a special energy you might use once for an amount of damage that Binding Mochi covers. The only benefit is that you can run Maximum Belt to one-shot somebody with 330 hit points, but even then you'd have to play Mela or Crispin for energy acceleration in order to surprise them with the stronger attack. Just like Mega Kangaskhan, I'm willing to give Mega Camerupt 3 toes. But the problem with the Hot Camel and pretty much every Mega Pokemon EX revealed so far is that they're just worse than Raging Bolt. The Giraffe can one-shot every Mega without too much effort and will remain a top deck in Standard for another 18 months. Mega Camerupt can't one-shot Raging Bolt with its first attack if they have an Ancient Booster attached, so you'll have to run Tool Scrapper. And Camerupt's stats are eerily similar to Incineroar EX, who doesn't see much play. That said, being a stage 1 that guaranteed attacks for 1 energy is great, but due to how much help it needs, I'm merely whelmed by the humper. Somehow giving us our first metal versions of the line, Tinkaton in Mega Evolution has an attack very similar to Lycanroc from Crown Zenith. For a single metal energy, Large Swing does 240 damage minus 60 for each energy attached to their active. The main issue with Lycanroc back in the day is that it required a fighting and a colorless, so Tinkaton's already better. On top of that, the reduction for each energy is 60 not 80, meaning it's still doing 180 for 1 energy on a single prizer, which isn't bad. Obviously you need to play Crushing Hammer here, and Tinkatuff helps with that a little. Featuring an ability I'm surprised we haven't had before, when you evolve into Tinkatuff from hand, it's a Crushing Hammer for their active. Again, you'll still need to play Crushing Hammer and maybe Enhanced Hammer or Elgium or Mismagius or Handheld Fan to succeed, but at least there's lots of ways to disrupt their energy. It's just that if they have 2 energy attached to their active and you fail to bump any of them, Tinkaton kinda sucks. I tried to make Lycanroc work when it was standard lethal, and it was rough. While Tinkaton is a little better in damage and attack cost, it is a stage 2, meaning I can't get too excited when fantasizing about getting hammered by a Tinkaton. In fairness, we won't know if Lunatone's actually good until we see the Solrock in Mega Evolution. But thanks to an early leak of pre-release promos, we know that provided Solrock's also in play, Lunatone's ability lets you discard a fighting energy from hand and draw 3 cards. It's basically Fezandipity with extra steps that can be activated every turn. Currently, the only Solrock in format has the Call for Family attack, which isn't worth the pairing. We'll know what Solrock does next week, so make sure you're subscribed because we're almost at 25k and I enjoy watching arbitrary numbers on a stream go up. We don't have to wait until next week to know that Celebi is disappointing. Boasting 80 hit points, meaning it's out of Poffin range, this little guy can time travel to grab 3 in combination of grass Pokemon in stadiums. If I could time travel, I'd go back in time and tell the Pokemon Company to give us Mega Flygon because what the hell. The only potential use for Celebi would be finding Neutralization Zone or Grand Tree, because we just got a Heatmore with a similar attack to Celebi that finds Fire Pokemon in energy and no one's ever going to use that. But we already have Colress's Thicacity for stadiums, and your opponent can always just I-know you out of the card Celebi grabbed. So, not totally unplayable, it's just that nobody's going to play it. Remember Terrakion from Silver Tempest that did 120 damage and protected itself against damage and effects of attacks the next turn? Well, Power Creep has taken a hold of it like it's a slippery foot and turned it into Marshadow, who does half the amount of damage. And the effect of protection only activates with a KO. Wow, that's actually horrible. So let me get this straight. Marshadow has less hit points, does half damage, and has to take a KO for the effect to activate. Yet the only boost from Terrakion is requiring 2 energy instead of 3. And Terrakion was really only paired with Claydol. Let's not forget that your opponent can always gust around Marshadow, which is a lot easier these days since Iron Bundle is seeing an increase in play due to Jellicent. And someone like Gardevoir doesn't care if Marshadow is protected because they'll just hit the bench with Screamtail. I'd even argue that Marshadow from TCG Pocket is stronger than Mega Evolution's Marshadow, which is horrible to say out loud. Remember Bastia Legion from Lost Origin that did 20 damage times the number of basic energy you shuffled in from your discard pile? Well, Power Creep has taken a hold of it like it's a dry foot and turned it into Kyogre, who does 20 damage times the number of basic water energy you shuffle in from your discard pile. That's not horrible, but whereas Bastia Legion could shuffle in any basic energy, Kyogre is locked to water. The fact that Kyogre is a basic does help a little though. Realistically, Kyogre can slot into a Baxcalibur Chen-Pao deck. Chen-Pao discards energy with its attack, Kyogre does boosted energy for each energy in your discard pile. But a normal Chen-Pao deck plays maybe 8 or 9 water energy, capping Kyogre at 160 or 180. And you shuffle the energy back into the deck, meaning it can't be recovered with superior energy retrieval. Though if you're facing down a Jellicent, that's maybe not a bad thing since Chen-Pao's ability can get some. I guess you could make a straight Kyogre deck with Revavroom and Amaris or Larry Skill Issue or Research. It just feels like a lot of work for someone who's probably dealing 200 damage maximum per turn, and that's if everything goes right. Next week we'll know nearly every card available in Mega Evolution base set, so stay tuned for that. In the original announcement, they teased type-specific cards that could swing the momentum of battle depending on how you use them. It's unclear if we'll get one for each type in base set, or if they'll spread them out like cheeks over the next year. So far, we only know about Mystery Garden, which is insane for Gardevoir, and the Orange Gatorade, which is an Electro Power for fighting types. There's just 2 Megas left to be revealed, which Pokebeach is saying are Abomasnow and Manectric. A blurry image revealed that Obama will be a 350 hit point stage 1, but its attacks are unknown. Until then, let me know in the comments how big of a jungle dump you plan on taking when Mega Evolution arrives on September 25th in English.